Jolene, Jolene, it's episode 16. Jolene, 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 Jolene. All right, welcome back to the show where I have a different accent each and every time. I don't even know which one this is. I really don't. This week we're going to be talking about the uniform. The uniform, the thing you wear so people know what you do. Uniforms are interesting because they let people know at a glance what your role is in their lives without them having to ask or figure out. You're part of a team. If you're wearing a surgeon's cap, I see all these people on TikTok wearing these surgeons/doctor caps. And I'm like, but you're also wearing a regular t-shirt. Why are you wearing the doctor cap right now? You're clearly not on a shift. You're in your Mazda. And they're like giving medical advice. And so they put on the uniform, and guess what? The doctor cap makes them seem more believable at a glance. If you don't start thinking critically, wait, they're not wearing the whole uniform, and wait, they're not actually in a hospital. Wait, maybe they're only wearing this uniform to manipulate me, which is another thing you can do. Everybody says dress for the job you want, right? So wearing the uniform of a successful employee could trick potential employers into thinking you're the successful person they want. I guess a lot of it works on a subliminal level, I need to buy some suit skirts. But I'm a comedian. What's the uniform for that? Well, it used to be a plaid shirt and skinny jeans. Now it's a graphic tee and not so skinny jeans. And maybe a little blazer, I think. I don't know. It depends. Or a hoodie. Depends on the comedian, But pretty gender neutral stuff. There's something about being a comedian, the uniform of a comedian. Not saying for you're special. If you're shooting a special, you might want to wear something kind of glitz and glam. But your average Joe Schmo comedian going to an open mic, it's graphic tee, jeans, hoodie or jacket / blazer, / maybe hoodie with a blazer. Could be fun. Could be nice. But yeah, there's something about being an average comedian that kind of makes you want to be in this gender neutral vibe, uniform wise. Or maybe all uniforms are no, they're not. Flight attendants, definitely not gender neutral, the way they dress. Well, let's say doctor, that's kind of gender neutral. I guess a lot of jobs, the uniform, a lot of jobs. Doctor and comedian. I'm trying to think of even whether they're firefighter. I don't think I've seen a woman firefighter. I don't think I've ever seen one. That's weird. I've never thought of that before. Police officer, kind of the same uniform for everyone. Chef, similar, same uniform. It puts you in a category that often transcends gender. Maybe there's something good about that. Uniforms are good for, or people love uniforms because we love to be able to categorize people instantly and not have to think too hard about who they are and what they're doing in our lives. There's something very comforting about seeing someone, seeing what they're wearing, and then being like, oh, that's what you are. Oh, you're wearing one of those jacket vests and a white collared shirt under. You work on Wall Street, There's just something very, I don't know what it is that's so comforting about categorizing people immediately. I think it's just, it makes the world seem predictable. It makes us know how we should be interacting with people, It makes us know where our place is in that interaction. It's a very neurotypical way of looking at the world, I guess, now that I'm saying it all out loud. Well, and our brains kind of can't process all the complexities of what's going on at once around us, because then we just live in utter chaos, and we live amidst an amount of details that's unprocessable by our conscious mind, our subconscious mind maybe, but our conscious mind. So weird that there's both. So it's like, it's a relief. We don't need to process anymore. You're the doctor, you're the nurse, you're the Wall Street guy, you're the waiter, you're the chef. I don't need to think about you. It's not that you don't want to think of them as human. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Maybe in your life they're just what the kids are calling NPCs, or background actors, because we just don't have the mental capacity to process that many people as human, as complex human beings with full lives. We can try. I mean, I try a lot of the time, especially if somebody behaves badly towards me. My go-to in my mind always is just like, well, they must be having a really fucked up week, or I don't know what's going on with them personally, and this is just about them and whatever that means, whatever the deep stuff that's going on in there that I don't know anything about is. And maybe sometimes that's not true. Maybe it is about me. Maybe they just don't like me. I don't know. But then again, maybe I look like one of their exes that treated them really badly, and that's why they just can't. They hate my face. They hate my face. But yeah, so I think that's another reason it's comforting, because we just don't have the energy to process beyond the uniform sometimes. Especially if they're not going to be playing a larger role in our lives. They're only playing the role of what the uniform identifies them as. Like, I think someone who's doing their job doesn't necessarily, or some people do. I don't know, like when I was waitressing, some people would really love telling the people they were serving their name, so then they could call them by their name. And I really didn't like that. I felt like my name was personal and it was off limits if I was going to pretend to be your servant for an hour. It made me uncomfortable because these people don't know me, and I don't want them to know my name, because right now I'm performing a role that doesn't allow me to demonstrate the depth and breadth of my actual humanity. So why should they be able to use my name? My name is about all of that, not about me being a waitress. I mean, but that, God, I hate it. I mean, I loved a lot of things about being a waitress, but also, man, it was really dehumanizing. But I guess every role, to a certain extent, is. You can't be your entire self in your job. That's most of what a job is, isn't it? It's just putting aside the biggest part of every job, just putting aside everything else in your life so that you can do the job. And for workaholics, that's a comfort. They don't want to deal with what's really going on in their lives. But for the rest of us, it is painful and dehumanizing. And difficult if something crazy is going on in your personal life. And why can't I just be a full human being wherever I go? Why can't I do that? Why? All right. Politicians' uniform, I think their uniform is just to have that little flag pin, right? Sweatpants, the uniform of giving up. I've worn this uniform many times for many years. And let me tell you, giving up is relaxing. But how do you find a uniform for the unique identity that is you? Or does that even matter? I mean, for a long time I felt like what I wore shouldn't matter, and it only obstructed who I really was. But in the end, it did obstruct people from seeing who I really was. If I wore sweatpants everywhere, people, no matter what you wear, people are going to categorize you. There's kind of no escaping the fact that they see what you're wearing as your uniform that day. Which is frustrating because it feels manipulative to be like, what category are they going to put me in? Okay, I'll wear these clothes. It feels kind of sociopathic, but when you think about it from the lens of like, they're going to categorize me no matter what I wear, so I better be deliberate about it, then you kind of have no choice at a certain point. So, I started wearing the jeans and the graphic tee and whatever. And maybe that makes me a coward. I don't know. It would be fun if I could find a uniform that really suited my unique identity, but at the same time didn't alienate the people around me. I haven't really found that perfect, what do you call it, with the two circles? The two circles thing. You know, where they overlap. Venn diagram. All right. Our brains are all working well today. But we know how we think we look, but we'll never know how we really look. Because how important is it anyway? You're not the one looking at it, right? It's just for other people. Or is it for you? Because you know how you look. You look at yourself in the mirror. It gives you confidence before you leave the house that you know you look good right then. Makeup really helps me with that. And, when you do acting, like wearing certain shoes or certain costume elements help you get into the character, that they're that kind of person who would wear that. And that kind of helps you feel their vibe. So in that sense, clothing can be a tool to develop your own identity. Put something on. How does this make me feel? Oh, maybe this kind of polka dot jumpsuit feels very emancipating. But then we all know the experience of trying on the polka dot jumpsuit in the store, feeling very emancipated. But the second we wear it out socially, we feel vulnerable for making a bold choice. But maybe that would get easier over time. It seems like, I've always wanted to be, and I think other people can relate to this, I've always wanted to be that old woman with the purple hair and the crazy clothes. Because at that point, some of your social circles died, and you just don't care what people think at all anymore. So that's something to look forward to. But in the meantime, I hope you can find the correct Venn diagram overlap of your personal identity and the uniform that you want the world to identify you with.